Nostradamus 2023 predictions: civil war, depopulation, huge financial crisis. What does Nostradamus reveal to us for 2023? From economic crises, stock market crash, aberrant social-political slippages to the dramatic degradation of people's actions and feelings. From a geo-climatic point of view, the need to purify and rebalance the earth will lead to hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Nostradamus considered that in 2023 a new era will begin, both in terms of the calendar, but also realistically. The year 2023 marks a sacred moment, favorable and, at the same time, dangerous in the history of mankind, meant to bring both disasters and revelations. And the preceding years herald this terrible, yet wonderful potential. The critical year 2023 does not necessarily mean an end, but rather a fundamental transformation of the world we live in, a rebirth of humankind on a new spiritual level. Undoubtedly, Nostradamus is the world's most famous prophet and presumed mystic. His adepts claim that he predicted the future with stunning accuracy. Astrologically, 2023 is rich in astral openings and powerful energies that will have an effect not only now, but also in the coming years. In 2023, in the year of the water rabbit, the focus will be on relationships of all kinds, because those relationships need to be balanced. According to the Chinese zodiac, the year of the water rabbit 2023 will lay the groundwork for political, social, and economic transformations. But at the same time we will be confronted with the results of choices made by the zodiacs in the past. It will therefore be a year of contradictory trends, and we must seek to navigate through the complications of past choices. Major Nostradamus prophecies for 2023. 1. Nuclear war in America and Russia. Is it really possible that the US could face the possibility of a nuclear war in 2023? According to the writings of Nostradamus, political instability, such an event may occur in early 2023. If Nostradamus' predictions come true and there is an all-out nuclear war between the US and Russia, the average surface temperature of the planet would drop by 16 degrees Celsius. 3 times the temperature difference between now and the last ice age, and 5 billion people would die. Also, in the worst-case scenario of a nuclear confrontation between India and Pakistan, global food production would fall by 50%, resulting in 2 billion starvation deaths. 2. Huge ants, spiders invasion. Another frightening prediction of Nostradamus is the one that a 9.8 earthquake could open a hole in the Mariana Trench, causing the release of huge species of ants, spiders and locusts that will invade the world. 3. Hybrid human-monkey soldier created in a Russian laboratory. Putin wants his scientists to develop a human-monkey hybrid that should be invincible and able to withstand any kind of food, including poisoned food. A monkey soldier of fortune with twisted tongue will come to the sanctuary of the gods. He will open the door to heretics and raise up the church militant. 4. A meteorite full of alien species will reach Earth. A giant meteorite the size of a blue whale will hit the Earth, and inside it will be new types of metals and alien species. 5. Destruction of the large empire. The French seer predicted that there may be the destruction of the large empire, perhaps, Russia or China. Besides, the high possibility of a global catastrophe will cause a huge number of victims and patients. In terms of war, the fights on the land and water are likely to happen during the year 2023. Quite another one will attain to the great empire, kindness distant more so happiness, ruled by one sprung not far from the brothel, realms to decay great bad luck. 6. European countries may have to deal with depopulation. According to Nostradamus, in 2023, European countries will have to deal with the probable depopulation, which is considered to be the final result of the chemical weapons use as well as the other nuclear-related conflicts. Every divine prophecy is claimed to be able to go even scarier than ever for the year 2023. As Nostradamus predicted, the big event has come closer and closer to us, which marks the start of World War III. Nostradamus also mentioned the possibility of World War III in his Les Prophéties book that would happen between 2022 and 2023. Within the isles of very horrible uproar, one will hear only a party of war, so great will be the insult of the plunderers that they will come to be joined in the Great League. 7. Vladimir Putin will be assassinated, and Biden will suffer from a mysterious disease. Nostradamus predicted a very violent year, both for the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and for the American president, Donald Trump. According to experts, Nostradamus warned about the assassination attempt of Vladimir Putin, an armed conflict in the East, and about the renewed relationship with his American counterpart between 2022 and 2023. The Russian president, Vladimir Putin, will suffer an assassination attempt by his security team. If the prophecy fulfills, Putin will be betrayed by someone very close to him. Regarding Biden, the prophet predicted that he will suffer from a mysterious disease and that a member of the American president's family will be the victim of a traffic accident. 8. Huge financial crisis. According to Nostradamus' predictions for 2023, we are on the verge of an imminent market crash. The short-term, but powerful fall of the best-known American stock index, at the beginning of this year, has caused global effects, determining many people to think of a new crisis. While some analysts insist that we are not witnessing another bubble that is about to burst, like in 2008, other experts think that the economic chaos is lurking right around the corner. 9. In 2023, England will have a new king. The Queen's death will be one of the most perturbing events in Great Britain from the past 70 years. Since her coronation, in 1952, Queen Elizabeth II has lived long enough to meet 13 Prime Ministers of Great Britain and 13 Presidents of the United States of America. Now she is 92 and, this year, her reign will end. At the death of the Queen, for at least 12 days, Great Britain will mourn and stop any activity, the experts estimating losses in the country's economy of a few billion pounds. Banks and stock markets will close, and both the funeral and the coronation of the Queen's successor will become national holiday days. Prince Charles will take the throne of Great Britain. He will then visit Scotland and Wales, shortly after the death of the Queen. 10. A new pope in the Catholic Church. It is believed that Nostradamus referred to Pope Francis in quatrains 2.97 and 5.31. But the French prophet predicted the death of a pope in 2023. Pope Francis' successor will be a young man who will obtain a high position in 2023. The quatrain's interpretations claim that the new pope will create a scandal in the Catholic Church starting from 2023, which will last until 2029. Pope Francis will be the last true pope, while his successor will be a Pole whose papacy will lead to the disappearance of Rome, and who will be, in fact, the last sovereign pontiff. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will reign Peter the Roman, who will feed his flock amid many tribulations. After which the seven-hilled city will be destroyed and the dreadful judge will judge the people. The end. 10. The Antichrist is coming, 27 years of darkness. The Nostradamus predictions for the year 2023 also speak of the coming of an Antichrist, who will bring a 27-year war that will bring death to many people. The Antichrist very soon annihilates the 27 years his war will last. The unbelievers are dead, captive, exiled. With blood, human bodies, water, and red hail covering the earth. 12. Unprecedented migration. Americans will face the immigrant issue, and the terrorist attacks will be increasingly higher. Is the end of the world coming in 2023? The end of the world seems to be an obsession of all previous and current generations. In this apocalyptic scenario, there is, undoubtedly, a lot of naivety, but also self-culpability. Instinctively, people felt that in their normal behavior there are many errors concerning Nostradamus claiming that any deed has its reward. This is probably the root of the end of the world idea. It is certain that in all the scenarios regarding the end of the world, the serious wrongs that would determine it were also incriminated. The goal of these threats was meant to warn the people about the sins, hate, aggression, negative thinking, self-destruction, wars, pollution, and the destruction of the natural environment. Deforestation, the destruction of animal and plant species, industrialized food system, depletion of planet's resources, etc., committed by humanity in order to avoid them. Our horoscope for 2023 says that this year should not be considered a moment of destruction, but rather the birth of a new system, of a new Enlightenment era. These 2023 Nostradamus predictions were made over 500 years ago. Did Nostradamus really see the future? Pro and con signs that the end of the world will come in 2023. Pro. Nostradamus prophecies, based on 2 millennia of meticulous astronomical observations, suggest that the year 2023 will mark the debut of a new era, accompanied, like any birth, by blood and suffering, but also by new hopes. Since 1940 and especially, after 2003, the sun behaves more turbulent than ever, since the global warming that ended the last glacial era, 11,000 years ago. The solar physics confirm that the next maximum point of sun's activity, at a record level, will occur in 2023. The solar storms have a correspondent in those that occur on Earth. Katrina, Rita, and Wilma hurricanes, from 2005, coincided with one of the stormiest weeks of the sun's documented history. The terrestrial magnetic field, our shield against dangerous solar radiations, has started to weaken, fissures the size of California occurring here and there. A reversal of the Earth's magnetic poles, during which the protection reaches almost zero, is likely to occur soon. The Russian geophysicists believe that the solar system has entered an interstellar energy cloud, which energizes and destabilizes both the sun and the atmospheres of all planets. They estimate that the disaster caused by Earth's collision with this cloud will occur between 2010 and 2120. The scientists, who discovered that the dinosaurs and almost 70% of all species on Earth have disappeared due to the planet's collision with a comet or asteroid 65 million years ago, claim with 99% certitude that the time for a new megacatastrophe has already come. The scientists, who discovered that the dinosaurs and almost 70% of all species on Earth have disappeared due to the planet's collision with a comet or asteroid 65 million years ago, claim with 99% certitude that the time for a new megacatastrophe has already come. The Yellowstone supervolcano, which erupts with catastrophic consequences every 600,000 to 700,000 years, is getting ready to manifest again. Its last eruption took place 640,000 years ago. Cons. There is no scientific base for Nostradamus theory. There is no danger of Earth collision with a stray asteroid. Nor is the alignment of the planets expected for the next decades. The reversal of Earth's rotation direction is practically impossible. The magnetic poles inversion is very unlikely in the next several millennia. Nostradamus, Biography and Facts. As a medic fascinated by occultism, Nostradamus risked provoking the wrath of the Catholic Church when he predicted the future for the next 20 centuries. Was he a true visionary, or maybe his legendary accuracy is just a myth amplified by time? The short and lively individual, with a long and thick beard, was a freak of nature at the Renaissance court of King Henry II of France. Being known as the son of converted Jews, passionate by astrology and other occult sciences, Nostradamus was invited to Paris in 1556 mostly as a source of entertainment. But his prophecies about the king will bring him international fame. One of these seemed to be true, but absurd nonetheless, suggesting that a blind man will soon become king. Another one, cryptic and interpretable in its nature: the young lion will defeat the older one on the battlefield, in a single fight. It will pierce his eyes in the golden cage, 2 wounds in one, and then he will suddenly pass away. On June 1, 1559, when the king was taking part in a tournament, by accident, the lance of his friend, who was his adversary, pierced the royal golden helmet and continued into his eye. The horrified culprit, Count of Montgomery, was younger than the sovereign. A splinter from the broken weapon caused a secondary injury, and the king suffered greatly for 10 days straight, after which he passed away. The words of Nostradamus were duly remembered. Because of their strong opposition against magicians and wizards, the leaders of the Romano-Catholic Church would have preferred to burn this dangerously exact prophet alive. The peasants, on the belief that the prediction was actually a curse, burned him in effigy. Only due to the now widowed queen, Caterina de' Medici, did he manage to avoid execution. Secluded in shadow. Being on the brink of civil war, France represented an ideal environment for the dark and cryptic prophecies of Nostradamus. Published in 1555, the first 100 out of the almost 2,000 which he will release until 1557. These belts were immediately successful and so represented the grounds for the author's acceptance in court. Recognizing that he intentionally went for a cryptic way of expression, Nostradamus wrote in an obscure language, originating from his contemporary French, but full of Italian, Greek, Hebrew and Latin phrases and words. Each prediction was made of 4 verses, a quatrain, but none resembled a poem. The visionary claimed this style defended him from the punishment of the powerful, who weren't exactly delighted by his words. Some of the more skeptical critics agree on the fact that the vague style is consciously adopted so as to develop open for interpretation pieces of writing. As a result, there probably are almost 400 different interpretations of the belts, each of them trying to reveal the secrets of the prophecies dating to 3797. Nostradamus becomes a royal counselor. On the grounds of the internal disturbances, many people in France, like Queen Ekaterina, didn't feel the need to have history confirm the words of the medic. His prediction regarding the death of her husband was sufficient. Without any shadow of a doubt, she stands behind his promotion as the leading medic of her son, Carol IX. According to a well-known tale, Nostradamus once called for an angel, named Anael, and asked him to use a magic mirror and reveal to him the fate of the queen's children. The mirror had shown the 3 sons as rulers, but only temporary, while her disgraced son-in-law, Henrik de Navarra, was bound to rule for 23 years. Scared, the queen demanded the finalization of that unpleasant show. Actually, Nostradamus probably visited her in court only to create the horoscope for her and the children. It's highly likely that Nostradamus was capable enough to envelop his unpleasant visions in ambiguous phrases. Given the fact that monarchs, no matter how kind initially presented themselves to clairvoyance, were renowned for punishing the messengers because of their message. Predicting a bloody century. For many interprets of Nostradamus' belts, the text is full of prophecies regarding extremely violent contemporary events, from the rising of Hitler to power to the assassination of both John F. Kennedy and his little brother, Robert. In Germany, people strongly believed in the sayings regarding the Third Reich. Actually, both in England and in Germany, they falsified a series of quatrains, thus making them more favorable to their cause, and threw them from an airplane as means of propaganda. On the other hand, one of his authentic quatrains was considered by many to be the foreteller of the war: "A live fire and death hidden in globes will be horribly unleashed. By nightfall, the enemy forces will obliterate the entire city." The interest manifested towards the Renaissance prophet was reborn following the dramatic events in Iran when the Shah was banished by the followers of the Ayatollah Khomeini, who had been previously exiled in France. According to a translation, Nostradamus wrote, "Rain, famish, and war will not cease in Persia. A belief too strong will betray the monarch. What began in France will finish there, a secret sign will be put away." An accurate prediction or an altered interpretation. Could it provide credibility to another prophecy meant to come true in the future, one of the few with a precise date? How many predictions did Nostradamus get right? Nostradamus predicted the Notre Dame fire. The dreadful Notre Dame fire in Paris on Monday, April 15 at 5:50 p.m. local time, was predicted by Nostradamus. A quatrain written 500 years ago by the French astrologer anticipated it. The head of Aries, Jupiter, and Saturn. God eternal, what changes can be expected? Following a long century, evil will return. France and Italia, what emotions will you undergo? Nostradamus, whose predictions were published in 1555 based on some quatrains written by him in 942, is the one who predicted the Great Fire from London in 1666, the French Revolution from 1789, Napoleon and Hitler's ascension, JFK's assassination, and even the 9/11/2001 events. How did Nostradamus die? Nostradamus announced his own death. One of the biggest poets of France, Pierre de Ronsard, wrote about his contemporary, like an antique oracle. For many years he predicted a large part of our destiny. Obviously, the prophet dwelled in the respect of the royal family and increased fame, up until his death, in 1566. Inevitable, many remained extremely skeptical regarding his work, or worse, they thought he was a simple intelligent con man who took advantage of the credulous. Per some researchers, Nostradamus even predicted his own death: "Beside the bench and bed I will be found dead." After he announced, one evening, that he will not survive the night, he died due to a gout episode on July 2, 1566, at 62 years old, and was found dead the following morning in his bedroom, next to his work table. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Spectral World Bridger.